Hello, welcome to another Open Geospatial tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you how to visualize LiDAR point cloud from the NOAA National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. You can see the coverage mapping here. Previously, I also created a tutorial and the tool that allows you to visualize data from USGS 3D program. And some of those data actually have overlap with the NOAA LiDAR dataset, but they're not always the same. So LiDAR, NOAA has a more dataset covering the coastal area. And if you're doing something like related to ocean and also bathymetry, you might want to use some of this dataset. And they have the data portal that allows you to visualize the data coverage and also download the data. Sometimes you might want to see the data before you download them. So in here, I'm going to show you quickly. If you go to the link in the video description, here's the link to the NOAA Digital Coast, and you can zoom to anywhere that you like. After that, just draw a rectangle. From there, you will search all the dataset, and on the right, you will find all the dataset cover the area. So take a look at this. Some of this says NOAA, some of them says USGS LiDAR dataset. So you can certainly see the overlap, but assume that you want to download the data, you can click here and then click the about download. Here you only read some of the descriptions, and then you can download the point cloud. So here are some of the links, and these are pretty huge data set. If you need to download them, you want to see them before you download the data set. So that sometimes if the data is not what you want, you might not want to download them. And so that's why I created this tool that allows you to download visualize data easily in the cloud without having to download them. And here's the link to the GitHub repository. The link is also in the video description below. You can go through them if you want to, but it's basically a maplibre-gl plugin that allows you to visualize the data in the browser without having to download them. And upper right corner here, there's a link to the website. If you want to look at the source code, you're welcome to. So you can actually integrate this one in your web applications. I have already done that, so you can click link in the upper right corner. It will take you to the website. Lower left corner here shows you some of the basic information. And by the way, so the data is hosted on AWS using the EPT format, N2 format, similar to what we cover in the USGS video. And if you want to access the bucket, you can do that. So the N2 format is very nice for visualizing data in the cloud. So it's kind of like the cloud optimized GeoTIFF that allows you to use HTTP range request. So it's going to pull the data based on your map views. It doesn't have to download the entire data set. So it's kind of just like streaming the data, just like you're watching a video on YouTube. You're just streaming the video based on your timestamp rather than have to download the entire data set. And again, thanks to the AWS Open Data Program for hosting the data that allow us to stream the, make it possible for us to stream the data. All right, so let's go back to here to this NOAA-LiDAR and then .gshub.org. So this is basically the interface. It's very simple. It's going to show you the map. And upper right corner here, you can see the layer control allows you to turn on, for example, the Google satellite-based map. And there's a button upper right corner. The button looks like the wave. If you click this one, it's going to pop up and then show you the panel allows you to source the dataset. So if you already know the specific area, you can zoom to the area of interest. Otherwise, you can just click the search map extend. It's going to search all the dataset available. And right now, this is only here, for example, covering the US. You can see the coastal area. The reason why it's different from the NOAA Digital Coast, here you might see larger coverage. The reason for that is not all the point cloud has been converted to N2 format. So some of them, if there's no N2 format, we cannot stream them. So this is the reason why it's not the same reason, but these are all the datasets have been converted to N2, so we can stream them on the fly. Upper right corner, you will see how many datasets here, 947. And the reason that you have this refresh index is because the plugin pre-built basically the bounding boxes, so it's faster to show you the extent. Otherwise, you need to go through the entire N2 JSON format. You need to basically iterate through to find out the extent. It's going to take some time, but it allows you to refresh the index. That means if NOAA in the future they update more data set, you might get more indices, more bounding boxes. Then if the data that you're interested in is not covered, you can click this refresh index to do that. I might also update the plugin, so you don't really have to do that. But I'm just saying if the reason for that is allows you to query the latest catalog so that you get the latest bounding boxes. All right, so once you see the bounding boxes, you can see the dataset. So by default here, showing the result 100 out of like 840, because by default it's only show you, for example, 100 dataset. Otherwise, it might be a little bit too much. And then once you have the bounding box, you got welcome to zoom to any location. So here you can check out the coastal region, or I can check out also near the Great Lakes. This one is Milwaukee in Wisconsin. So I can click this one. It's going to select the bounding box, and after that you can just simply click load selected upper right corner here, click this load selected, then it's going to load the point cloud directly into the browser. So you can see here, if you scroll down, you are able to find this one, the layer here loaded, and you will see the number of points. So for this data set, it has 38 billion points, 38 billion. So it's actually pretty big. And after that, you can click this identity icon. It's going to show you the basic information. You can find out the name, the point count, and some of the basic information, the URL to the entwined JSON file. And this is the last format, last zip. You can see the bounding boxes, the coordinate information, the point format, something like that. And the point spacing, roughly 20 centimeters. So this is pretty high point density. Right now, you see most of them kind of like dark color, blue color. The reason for that, there's some outliers. So if you zoom in, they will see some of these bright color. Those sometimes can be some artifacts, or it can be like tower or something else that it might be real, it might be not real, might be just artifact. But if you see, take a look at this. So it's some of the pretty high information. If you don't know, you can go here and then turn this one off. You can see the tower. I'm not quite sure if they see or not. Oh yeah, that's true, because you see this one here. This one looks like a very high tower crane. They're basically building something. It's actually still being captured. So the LiDAR does actually capture some of those, but it's going to cause issues because sometimes you might want us to focus on like low lying area, not these like artifacts. So if this is the case, you can click this button and then scroll down here, allows you to do the elevation filtering. So if you click this, check this box, elevation filtering, and you can actually turn this one here. Take a look. So now those are gone. But you also need to be careful because there might be some buildings, you might accidentally also remove a lot of others, but at least allows you to do the filtering, and then you can press Control on your keyboard. You can drag your mouse, then you can see some of these different perspective. Also, you notice here, like there's some gap between the point cloud and also the satellite base map. The reason for that is there are also some artifacts. I don't know why. There's something like beneath. Basically, some LiDAR can penetrate, or some of the LiDAR is basically required using the absolute elevation. So it's not really the base height. So if this absolute elevation, for example, the elevation X, Y, Z, the Z is like 100 meters, it doesn't necessarily mean that the height is 100 meters. So you need to subtract the base height. And if this is the case, you can click the G offset. So the G offset allows you to adjust the base height. So it became moving points down. Right now, if I drag, so by default, it's like 37 meters. So if I drag them, you will see it's going down. So if you drag to the negative, then you're going to go underground. So if it is on the ground, so you can assume it's 0 meters. So right now, maybe I can do negative 150. This looks like pretty decent. So maybe a little bit more, 200 meters, then maybe, yeah, 200 meters. So let's see. Okay. Also, you might notice that when it's loading the data, it's going to be load tile by tile because this is a huge data set. So it might take a while to actually query all the data set, but at least you can see the data. Let's zoom to the downtown area here, and again, be patient, wait for the data to load. And right now, this will be the downtown. You can see all the coastal area here. Again, zoom in, wait for it to load. So here we can customize the color. You can see this one here, color by. So by default, it's going to use the elevation. So you can change to intensity. For example, you're going to switch to intensity. Intensity basically is the reflectance. So how strong is the signal? And some of those might be observed, for example, vegetation and other stuff. But for buildings, you will see the white color and also the ground and also the roads and street. You can also change to classification. If it already has, it's going to show you the classification. And not all the datasets have nice classification, but for this one, you can see clearly we can have water. So the water is in blue color. And you also have the ground. What's this one? Unclassified. Actually, most of them are unclassified. This is the gray color here, but you also have the brown color. So the brown color, this one is the ground. And you also have some low point noise or something like it, or even have the bridge deck or high noise. So it all depends on the data acquisition. Sometimes they have pretty accurate, sometimes not so accurate data set. And you can see some pink color here. Let's see what it is. Interesting. I don't see the pink color. Why is showing the pink color? This looks like building. So it varies. So this is not, the classification is not very reliable. So you might not want to use it, but at least you can give a rough estimation. If you want to extract the water, the river, then you want to basically just use the blue point, blue color classification. And the last one is RGB. They may not have it. So if they don't have that, then it's going to switch back to the elevation. Okay. And so this is allow how you can customize the color. After that, you can change the color here. I can change to maybe different color map. So depends on what you want. So take a look at this. Now, all the higher grounds are represented color in the brighter color. This is changed to maybe the terrain, because this is something related to elevation. So I'm going to change to terrain. Right now, you can clearly see the white color represent high elevation, higher height. If you zoom in, you're going to see a lot more details, right? So take a look at this. The next feature I want to show you is that you can check the point picking. That means you can just identify the height information. So if you check the box and then hover your mouse, move your mouse around the map, you're going to see the XYZ, the intensity. Oops. Interesting. Why it doesn't show the height? Okay, this is missing, so I might need to look into that. But if you had the height information, you should see the value. Oh, actually, also XYZ, the G is the height information. So you can see this one is like 90, 80 meters. And if you move to the ground, some of those are actually negative. If you cover the white color, you should have higher G values. Okay, so for example, this one is 117 meters. So this is how you can see the query the values if you want. And once you're done, I can turn this one off. It should be gone now. Another feature I want to show you is the cross section. So this might be useful. You want to see the cross section of a certain location. For example, these are all the buildings, right? And we also have the ocean, not also the Great Lake, right? So if you want to see, let's say you want to see the cross section from the buildings to the ocean, you can just activate this one and then click the draw line button here. And from here, I can just place my mouse somewhere and just draw a cross section across the entire data set. And once you draw the line, you can see on the right here, it's going to show you the preview. If it's too small, you click this button to make it bigger. And this one allows you to see the data. So you can clearly see some of the high-rise building here. You should be able to even move this one, make it a little bit larger. So you can see the terrain, right? So this is the ground. And this is the tower, the buildings, and then go to the Great Lakes. So you can see these are some of the so-called ocean, not ocean, the lake bathymetry. So you can see the ground, and some of those are actually still not zero. It's still like elevation is 177. So it's basically the absolute height. Doesn't mean the base height. So it's the absolute elevation. If you want, you can also download this one as a CSV. So click this button, and then you can save this one to your computer. It's going to save as a CSV. After that, you can open this one on your computer. So I'm going to go back to here to my downloads directory, and then I can open the CSV. Let me quickly show you here. And so the CSV contains the distance from the starting point and the elevation, and then the offset, latitude, longitude, intensity, classification, something like that. So if If you want to quickly get some profile or cross section, this is how you can do that. After that, I can create it, or you can draw a new line if you want to. So you can draw multiple lines. You can get the same thing here, another building. And let me close it. All right, so that's pretty much it. And you are welcome to basically adjust the color. You can go to any other data area. Then you can see the data set before you download anything. Once you figure out the data you want, you can go back to the Digital Coast. Then you can download the data. Right now, for the N2 format, it doesn't really allow you to download the data set directly. So you need to go to the, maybe in the future, I can try to see if I can incorporate the download function. Sometimes if you're loading a lot of data, it might become a little bit laggy. You can just refresh the browser, then you can start from scratch. So because everything is running on your browser using web GPU, so using a browser, so it might not be that fast if your computer hardware is not that good. Here, for example, you can try something else. So I can click this one, or you can load multiple data sets together. So if you want, you can click multiple, but this is pretty big, so you don't want to, because it's already mosaic. You just want to try in a small area before you do it multiple data set. Again, I can try this one, and so this one is covering the Texas coast. You will see there's a lot, still a lot of like artifacts beneath the ground. I don't know why. It's the data quality, you need to double check before you utilize the data. So you might remove all the outliers before you use it for analysis. So for example, I can clear another one. You can load another one. It should be too low. So this is pretty easy and straightforward to use. Feel free to explore all the data set that you are interested in. And there's also something outside continental US, for example, in Puerto Rico. So you can also click this one. You can view the data set here in Puerto Rico. So this one covers the entire coastal area of the island. Pretty interesting. Once you're done, you can clear all the data set. You can also remove the data layer directly from here. You can also turn the layer like opacity from here. So I can change the layer opacity directly from here on and off if you want to. Okay, so that's all I want to show you. Feel free to explore the data and leave any comments down below, or you can report any issues on GitHub. And I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.